Welcome to Hardin Local Weekly. We hope you're having a great Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, I guess now. Day's gone by fast. Didn't even know it was the afternoon yet. Let me bring everybody else on. We're excited this week to have Casey and Romy joining us, local favorites. How you guys doing?
Good to be on. Thank y'all for having us.
Yeah.
Glad to have you. Of course, we got Scott, Lucas, and Nate. Ryan, what's up? We're going, Nate, and Joe, John O'Brien.
Hey.
Got a bunch of events today, don't a bunch. Before we get started, I want to take a few minutes and ask you guys to each answer briefly. What's your big plan for spooky season? Is there one big event that you're looking forward to? And we'll start with Nate.
I don't like being scared at all. I already did mine. I went to Florida for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. Yeah, Courtney and I don't do scary stuff, so I'm working Halloween night, so may end up somewhere that Saturday, but I'm working, so it's okay.
Right. Yeah. What about you?
Nothing really. I like watching horror movies. I've always liked scary movies, whether it's Halloween or not. So I'm just looking to some of the classics like Halloween, Chucky, Pet Sematary. Those are the top three, I'd say.
Nice. That's great. What about you guys, Casey and Romy?
We are actually playing a BBT next Friday for a Halloween party.
Oh, yeah.
Come out. We're going to get dressed up. I think actually me and Jamie, one of the bartenders there, are doing like a little twinning costume. So I'm really excited for that.
I think that's actually Halloween night.
Yeah, that's Halloween night.
Halloween night.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that you guys are all going to be there. So that's going to be awesome. Yeah. And we're all going to watch. John's going to dress up as an old fashioned, and it's going to be great. Yeah, to make the best old
I just stay that way.
Business, right?
I try.
What about you, John?
I'll be working too. I'll be there that night as well. So,
all right.
But pumpkin carving is fun. Pumpkin carving is fun. I like that too.
It is. Why don't you talk a little bit about what's behind you there, since we already know what you're doing.
So this right here. Mm-hmm. So that was from last week's paint your spooky thing in a vintage painting event at BBT. It was the book club put it on. We have here on Thursdays, so they kind of meet and talk about different books they're reading that week. But they decided to do something for spooky season. So a friend of mine who did this, Jessica Chisholm, amazing artist in Radcliffe, she did this great. It did not look spooky originally, but now it's got a ghost and a raven and a little plot over there. I don't know what's over there, and some pumpkins over here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Fun stuff.
Well, I'll try to make it out the next Friday. I think that's my weekend with my son. I have him every other weekend, so I may not be able to make it to that. But I will be at the Cosmic Golf Halloween party next Saturday, or this Saturday. I'm going to do that one. And then we're going to do regular trick-or-treating with my kid on actual Halloween night. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully his costume comes in time. So all right, before we get started, I want to do a quick call to action. Let me pop up our QR code here. We'd like to encourage you guys, it's over on this side right above me next to Nate, to scan that QR code or go to hardinlocal.com and you can download all the events we're talking about this week from the PDF. And you can also follow us on Facebook if you don't already follow us, and follow us. There's also a checklist there where you can sign up with your email. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube. And if we really want to encourage people that use YouTube, you have an account, you watch it quite often, please go follow us on there. You'll get to help us get more followers on YouTube. All right. Not Nate, but Scott, this is something that I always do.
That's fine. It happens.
I can ad-lib it. I'll be all right.
Well, Nate's going to be interviewing Casey and Romy. Romy.
Yeah.
Always had problems with pronouncing names properly. It's not personal. And probably why it's a better idea that Scott does the interviews. So we'll let Scott go ahead and get started on that. Here you go, Scott.
All right. So Casey and Romy, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Real quickly, for those of you who are watching, if you don't know a little bit about me, I'm always into music. We have a very musically oriented family. So I listen to things from classical music to rock to rap, gangster rap, hardcore metal, lots of different things. So I'm glad y'all came here, and thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having us, man. Really appreciate it.
No problem. So I try to I try to think of some creative questions that probably y'all don't get a lot, because I didn't want to be that Me Too person where it's the same question. So I tried to like think of something more creative, and then I had a little bit of AI assistance to kind of help me like articulate some things. So the first question I want to ask is, y'all perform a lot of songs, and I'm just curious, what's that one song that you perform and it gives you chills every single time that you do that?
So, I love that you asked this question, and I was kind of thinking about it, and it's kind of interesting because obviously whenever you have that connection with the audience and you're performing a song, sometimes it's not the same song, like there's certain artists that I really connect with, Lady Gaga, Chappelle Roan, Fleetwood Mac. And there's been times where I'm singing and it's unplanned, and I just get the hairs on my arm, my neck, my arm starts tingling, and I can feel that the audience is really connecting with me. So for me, it's a very organic, kind of natural thing. I wouldn't necessarily pin it on a song, but I just think, Fleetwood Mac, Lady Gaga, Chappelle Roan, those are artists that I really connect with. And so I think in that moment, it's just a really beautiful shared experience of just, we're all on the ride for that song, and then it's like over, once the song is done. But it's a really beautiful experience.
I'll tag on to that just a little bit and kind of put Romy on report here. But she is, I remember when we were learning one of the Chappelle Roan songs right down here in the basement that we're sitting in right now. Yeah. And we literally had to go over that thing 25 times because she would start crying about midway through the first verse every time. And it was amazing to watch it, because she felt it. I mean, and I could feel it. Next thing you know, I'm sitting there and I'm tearing up too. So
Right.
Yeah.
We're both very emotional artists, I think.
So.
And it's very, I think for anyone that's seen us perform, it's very energetic, and, you can feel everything that's going on stage. And so I think it's kind of a beautiful thing of, live performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is. I like catching y'all live. And so that kind of leads to my next question. Y'all do a lot of different covers, different genres. Tell me about one time you gambled on a totally unexpected genre twist live. And did it land, or did it kind of flop?
I think that we've been pretty blessed in that we have a great fan base. Our friends and our fans and our family that come to see us are very accepting about whatever we do. But if, we know what our niche is. But I will tell you that pretty recently we added "This Is How We Do It" by Montel Jordan, which is an R&B song. I obviously do not sing a lot of R&B of that format. And we did that song, and it went over huge. So that was a surprise. I was actually kind of nervous about doing that one. Oh. I would say "Man in the Mirror" is another one, kind of out of our typical ball of wax, but people have loved it. That's turned out to be a huge hit. And then kind of on the other side, one of our original songs called "Coming on Me" is metal. I mean, it is metal. There's no other way to put it. It is the heaviest song that we do. And every once in a while, we'll whip that out. And we've had people come up and say, "Oh, that's my favorite song on your record." And it's just from people that you would not expect to be saying that. So I think that we've been very blessed that none of them have flopped. They've all been A1. So.
And he was kind of stuck in the 80s. So thankfully I brought him to like current top hits. But, we do Miley Cyrus, Britney Spears, Lady Gaga. And I don't think he would have ever thought he would be doing those songs. But it's pretty funny that he's doing Miley Cyrus, being that he is from such a metal rock background,
She has definitely expanded my horizons in that regard. I would be the first one to admit that. And it's been a good thing for me.
Yeah,
absolutely. And conversely, where I came from, she wasn't alive when a lot of that stuff was going on yet, because I'm a little older than she is. But now, and she sings those songs from the 80s and those metal songs. I mean, she sings these male Ronnie James Dio songs, one of the greatest heavy metal singers of all time. She had no idea who he was before we met, and now she sings those songs with so much passion. It's incredible. So I think we've both learned from each other on that, and it's been great.
That's good. That's good. And speaking of which, you mentioned one of your original songs. That kind of ties into my next question. What usually shows up for your originals? Is it the lyric, a riff, or a feeling, or can you name the song?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really have to get emotionally inspired, and it can be happy, sad, confused, trying to understand a situation. As long as I'm emotionally triggered in some way, I mean, the words just flow out of me. So for me, I tend to kind of write poetry, and then I will add that to the music. And, I've been writing music since I was 6 years old. I used to have a keyboard with presets in it. And so there was Elton John, the Beatles, Michael Jackson. And of course, at 6 years old, you don't know that these are already songs. Right. And I would create my own songs to them, So for me, that's always been, writing has been a huge outlet. And so for me, as long as I'm emotionally triggered in some way, I'll just get to writing. And I mean, I could write 3-4 songs depending on the situation. So, which I know for you is probably a little different.
Yeah, for me it is a little different because I'm a musician first. So typically when I'm coming up with songs, it'll typically start with a guitar riff 9 times out of 10, and then I'll play it, record it usually on my phone, and then just start hearing melodies in my head and put those melodies together. I will tell you that "Gotta Find My Way," one of our original songs, is probably a good example of probably the most collaborative song that Romy and I have done together. And I had come up with this little riff and gave her the riff. And then we kind of, I think to the best of my recollection, we were just humming, trying to figure out what sounded good. And I think we kind of came up with a melody almost together. And then she wrote those lyrics. I mean, just nailed them. And they just came flowing out of her so easily. And they're great lyrics. I mean, I think it's probably one of the strongest songs we've done for sure.
Yeah, it's been kind of interesting too, because at this point we've recorded, I don't know, 6 or 7 originals. And so we always go in with the song, we have an idea of what the song is going to be. And it's been really awesome. Justin Spencer has done some of our recordings, and, other producers as well. And once we get to the recording process, it's really fun to be able to get their input as well. So I think that there's huge moments in a lot of our original songs that someone else is like, why don't you guys do this? And that's been pretty incredible. Even in the bridge for "Gotta Find My Way," that, there's like this, thing, and it's just awesome.
I'll tell you one other one. There is a song that no one's heard yet because we haven't finished it. We've been working on it, if you want to call it working on it, for, I guess, 4 or 5 years. And it's kind of on the back burner, and we'll get to it at some point. But I played Romy the riff in the basement of our old house. There was and it was just the guitar part. She came downstairs and said, "Oh, I think I have something cool." And I played it for her, and tears, bam, right off the bat. I mean, right away. And that was just the music. And that's how deeply I think that, and that's Burning Down. And
that's a good song.
Yeah, I can't wait to have that one out there for you.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. And that kind of leads into, hearing that you get inspired from like flow state or whatever comes natural. So what would you say is the weirdest place a song idea ever found you? And did that track keep that original spark, or did it just evolve into something different?
You want me to get that one? Well, I've had song ideas come to me, all the time. And these things are great. For you just hum into them, you get a little voice recorder or whatever, which is such a great tool. I think we've all heard artists talk about how they wake up in the middle of the night or whatever. A couple of years ago, Romy and I were at the Portland Zoo with my grandkids, and the monkeys were going off in this monkey enclosure, and I was watching my grandkids just sit there and enjoy these monkeys, and Romy and I were watching the kids enjoying the monkeys. And that kind of was, that was an inspiration for a song that I'm working on right now. Oh, and I just remember thinking about that like, here we are at the zoo on a family day out, and I'm turning that into a rock song somehow. So I don't know exactly how that worked out, but
it's kind of interesting too. And I think for people that are, artists, musicians, et cetera, you can just kind of be living life and a melody kind of come to you. And I think that that's kind of a really special thing. I mean, he's always humming and, harmonizing. And like, sometimes I'm like, be quiet.
She'll be like, why are you talking to yourself?
Get so silent. But usually, you're just kind of living life. And I mean, I've had moments too where we're driving in the car and I just start humming something, and I'm like, that's a really good song. And so, like he said, we'll record it. And so it's kind of a beautiful thing, I guess, I don't know, a gift of the universe to just be able to hear that music, even if there's nothing playing.
Yeah, I was about to say some divine intervention, because, those nudges mean something. And now going into like your live experiences, what would you say is one live event or moment that permanently changed how you perform? Do you remember what happened or what shifted?
Well, there's been a number of those, over the course of my career that I can remember, but, a couple for sure. I was wearing these boots on this big stage in front of a huge crowd one time, and the stage was grated, and the little rubber part on my heel of my boot was coming loose, and it got stuck in one of those grates, and I kept going in front of around 20,000 people. And so what do you do other than stand up and play the big guy, right? But I will tell you that I have been cognizant of that since that day. I am checking my shoes. I am kind of watching. I have literally not fallen on stage again since then. And that was
Knock on wood.
I know. Next Friday night at BPT,
Yeah.
come on out and watch me take a spill on stage, because I just jinxed myself.
Now, going with that, since we all know rooms have different personalities, different crowds, and you've been a frequent at BBT a while. So let's say if it's not BBT and it's a brand new venue, how do you kind of read the crowd in the first couple minutes to like adjust your set?
Yeah. So for those of the people that have ever seen our shows, we don't have a set list. The only time we ever use a set list is for big festivals, because you're on a time limit and you need to know what's coming next. Outside of that, we usually call things on the spot. And so it really varies. For me, it's always really important to kind of like serve the audience per se. And I really like to see what people are connecting with and just kind of go off the energy. It's kind of funny because we don't play wineries too often, but when we do, I mean, we may start off with a really slow set and be doing AC/DC in the next set. It just depends on the audience. And so I think that we tend to be really good about trying to figure that out. And if we feel like for whatever reason things aren't landing, we'll just ask the audience, what do you guys want to hear? And we just kind of try to cater to them for the most part.
For sure.
Okay. Now, you all are on what? Spotify. You're on a lot of different streaming channels, and we know that streaming pushes the singles and algorithms. So, how has that changed how you write or release music? And has it been for better or for worse?
I mean, that's a huge topic in the business these days. How has it affected our writing, my writing, her writing? I can't 1,000% speak for Romy, but I can tell you it's affected nothing. For me, I write the same way that I did before that was a thing. I write what it comes from my heart. As far as the business side of releasing it, that's changed. Obviously, there's no one's buys records anymore. We have our All I Can single out there that's been downloaded, I mean, hundreds of thousands of times, literally. I think there's 280,000 views just on the video. Now, of course, had we had a single in 1990, that sold 500,000 singles, and we had the world's worst deal, we're still making 40 or 50 grand. I think we've made, around $13.47, and we spent that at Buc-ee's. So, but it's not, we are fully aware that the business side of the business is something that is somewhat out of our control. We write what we want. We hope that the people that we are giving it to like it. And if they like it, we're going to like that they like it.
But as a whole, unfortunately, back in the day, artists used to be able to actually make money off their music, with merchandise, selling CDs, selling records, touring. And unfortunately now, because of streaming, I think Spotify pays their artists like 0.001% of a penny, so unfortunately you just can't make a lot of money doing it. You have to really just do it because you love it.
Definitely.
I will tell you this just real quickly. You can go on YouTube and Google John Denver and Peter Frampton testifying in front of Congress about this very subject. And Peter Frampton's "Oh Baby, I Love Your Way" has been downloaded over 1 billion times, and he's made like 20 grand. And that is, that's a shame.
Yeah, definitely. So in an alternate timeline, if you weren't performing right now, where would each of you be, and what would still drag you back to a stage?
So for me, ironically enough, when I met him, I had just graduated college, and I was choosing between Dubai and China. I was going to go teach English abroad and travel the world and live my best life. And then I met Casey Bank. No, but 6 months later, we were living in Kentucky. But at that point, I had only lived in San Diego, California. So I thought, before I leave the country, let me go live somewhere else. And, to my surprise, I ended up falling in love with Kentucky and, consider it home now. Yeah. But in terms of performance, I've been performing since I was 6 years old. I mean, I was, offered a record deal at 16, doing TV performances since I was 10 years old. So this was something I was always going to do. And when I graduated high school, I had the option to move to LA and kind of pursue my music dream. And I just kind of thought to myself, if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, what do I fall back on? And so I decided to go get my degree just to have something else. Right. And so the timing actually ended up being pretty good, because when I did graduate, I was ready to get back into music. And then obviously, through Casey, my live performance, singing, live music has been greatly expanded because of that. So but I'll still perform. I'll be doing something,
Yeah.
with someone.
I think once for anybody out there that's done this before, once you've got that bug, and once you've been bit by that bug bite never goes away.
That's fair. Yeah.
And even if you're not doing it, it's still in there. I mean, it is.
Right.
You've heard people say, being on stage is better than this or better than that, and it is.
Definitely. It's kind of like when somebody gets the entrepreneur bug, and it still sticks with them. So beyond playing music or playing a gig, what do you hope your duo leaves behind in this community over the next few years? For next few years, sorry.
Well, I would like to think that we were a staple of the E-Town music scene, specifically when downtown was getting revitalized. And we've always kind of been the band where everyone's got a seat at the table. Anyone is welcome. I think we both really pride ourselves on if there's a new person at our show, we go up, we introduce ourselves. We try to form some kind of bond with that person. And I hope, the community remembers us, that we were, that we filled the town with joy and laughter and unity. And, and hopefully we continue to bring that as well, obviously. But I think we both love Hardin County. We love E-Town. And that's why, at some point we decided to buy a house here and, kind of place roots here. But I love my little community, and I love E-Town, and I love living here. And I just hope that, we are just able to continue to bring all the love to E-Town.
Yeah, I'm going to 100% second that, in that, that's the most important thing to us, is that, when people think about Casey and Romy,
Yeah.
and you'll see me put it in my personal posts, as I always say, come out and get some great memories made. When people think back about their time at our shows, or getting to know us, or whether we've ended up having dinner at their house, or we've made so many friends in this community, and we feel blessed to be here. You people right there on that screen, all 5 of you. We've all had personal experiences together out on this town together, and I know there's going to be many more. And I hope that when people think back on us, that they think all positive.
Well, I know we will. And I know, it looks like that time. So I won't get to the last question, but one last thing for you all. If there's one event that you want to tell everyone about, I know you got BBT for next week or so. Is there anything else that y'all are doing, or we could just drop your website? And
well, I'll tell you what, I'll throw one out there, and this is a long distance one. But Romy and I are going to be with our full band in San Diego at the House of Blues on January 10th. We have Todd
in San Diego, California.
In San Diego, California. Cool. And there have been a number of people from here come out to those shows in the past. And for anybody that does come from here, you contact me personally. I will take care of your ticket. You get yourself to San Diego. We'll take care of your ticket, and then we'll
ticket to the show.
Ticket to the show, not your airplane ticket.
There you go.
We'll
Nice.
take care of your ticket to the show, and then
help you with lodging too.
We will get you some help with lodging, and we will take you out and show you some things around Southern California.
Who else is in the band?
George Palacios is our drummer. You'll see him in our video. He also plays with Rick Springfield. He plays with Sammy Hagar, with a number of other folks like that. And our bass player is Todd Howarth. And for those of you who just recently saw Ace Frehley from Kiss passed away, Todd was Ace Frehley's lead singer in his solo band. He's also toured with Cheap Trick for the last 20 or 30 years as keyboard player. He was in Ted Nugent's band. So these are top level pros that we are blessed to have working with us. I've worked with both of those guys for years. And I'll tell you something about both of them. As great as they are musicians, they're better people. And we are happy to be surrounded by guys like that.
Yeah. Blessed to join us.
George Palacios played the State Theater here with us in town. So a number of people here in E-Town were able to meet him, and I think that they would echo that same sentiment.
Good. Well, thank you for the questions, all the questions I have. So if you're watching live or the replay, please let us know what your favorite music genre is. But right now we will move to Phil, and we have Nate Bryan doing business news.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your week, guys.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we ready for me? Okay. The business briefs with Nate Bryan, BBB. I'm waiting for somebody to make up an AI logo, because we were talking that we love AI stuff. That's wrong. Anyway,
I'll go ahead and break that for you.
I did not think that this would ever